Hey everyone, it has been a long time since I posted a LEGO video, and I am very excited to finally get my time back for doing what I love the most, which is building these sets. There shouldn't be any more delays on my channel now that I have successfully completed paramedic school and can focus on making more videos. Today's long-awaited review is on the alternative builds from the 1999 LEGO Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace 7161 Gungan Sub. In this set, there are 3 minifigures, Jar Jar Binks, Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Qui-Gon Jinn. There is one customizable vehicle in this set, the Gungan Sub. And lastly, there is a piece of coral that comes with the set that also has a manta ray that can be placed on it. All of these pieces are what we are going to use to make these alternative builds. How I put these alternative builds together is by using the back of the box, the instructions, and a little bit of the comics that are found in the instructions. There are some builds in this set that are way different than what we have seen in the past, and some of the builds are a little bit simple compared to the other sets. On the back of the box, this is where we are going to see our first alternative build that we are going to be putting together. I wish that they used this build in the comics because it is such a cool design. Let's put this alternative build together and see if it holds up to the picture. I thought that this alternative build came out better than I thought. The arms look great, the legs look sturdy, and the center is a great control pod for the driver. The arms don't move and the legs don't either, but it is a very good looking display and playset. The legs break very easily and are not secured very well to the torso, which is very annoying. Also, to put the pilot in and out of the cockpit is a hassle. The blasters look fantastic on the arms and the shoulders are really cool too. Overall, I think that this is one of my favorite alternative builds that I've built so far. The next builds are all featured in the comics, in the instruction pictures they provide you, and the back of the box. In the comics, the story starts off with Qui-Gon Jinn, Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Jar Jar Binks driving through the underwater depths of Naboo in their Gungan submarine. In the first comic strip, you can see that they are just passing through an underwater archway. Everything seems to be going just fine until Jar Jar Binks notices something is coming towards them and he begins to panic. Above them, a very large gooberfish is descending upon the submarine because it thinks they are food. The sub ends up upside down and clashes with the gooberfish. All 3 of our heroes are jettisoned into open water surrounded by the wreckage of the destroyed submarine. On the next page, you see Qui-Gon Jinn grabbing pieces from the sub to make something quick to get a breath of air. He quickly builds a scuba mask to help him breathe underwater. This is the second alternative build that we are going to be putting together. The instructions for this alternative build aren't as limiting as the first build since that one only had one picture to go off of. This build ended up being a slight challenge and took me a little bit to get it figured out, but with those extra pictures I was able to finish the build. So let's put it together and take a look at it. I thought that this mask came out great. I think that the mask is a great display piece. In terms of functionality, the mask doesn't fit an adult head or a child's head, so it's more of a piece for display and not function. I do think it's cool that the back end of the mask has a hinge so the mask can be put on a head. However, as I said, the mask can't fit on most heads. I do think the detailing on the respirator part is cool. The eyepieces are awesome, and from the perspective of the wearer, I could see how this is an awesome alternative build. Overall, I think that it is always great to get a build that strays away from the basic ship builds. In the comics, directly after Qui-Gon Jinn builds the scuba mask, he sees the gooberfish coming back to finish the job. In a cartoon-like fashion, the mask breaks apart as Qui-Gon Jinn reacts to the impending attack. Qui-Gon Jinn sees the gooberfish making a 180-degree turn and is coming right for them. Quickly, the 3 of them start putting together 2 new ships to escape the gooberfish. Qui-Gon Jinn builds a new small ship and escapes through another underwater archway. The instructions for this alternative build were very helpful in showing all of the angles needed to build this design. This ended up being one of the more disappointing builds since it was so small. It did, however, win me over with some of its functionality, which we'll see right after we build it. This small underwater craft is very sturdy and has lots of detail on it since it is such a small build. The cockpit is well put together, it is simple but nice. The propellers used in the back of the craft look great, and I like it that they made an enclosed capsule since it is an underwater craft. Overall, this ended up being one of the more underwhelming alternative builds, but still a cool one. Back onto that same strip of comics, we see that Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jar Jar Binks built another ship to flee the gooberfish. They both quickly drive away from the angry deep sea monster. This build had very little complexity to it, however I did still need those angles that these extra pictures provided. It helped me make sure I was using the right pieces. Let's put it together and see if it comes out alright. This build was quite simple and definitely the least complex alternative build. I thought that this one had very little imagination going into it, especially since it was designed by adults. It was mainly missing seating and enclosed capsules since it is an underwater craft. It looks more appropriate as a flying craft. The wings are weak and the seating arrangement for Jar Jar is lame. He is just placed on open studs. Overall, it's not a bad ship, just one that lacks the standard that we have seen from previous alternative builds. In the story, the two underwater crafts escape the attack by going through an archway. This tricks the gooberfish into following them and getting itself stuck in the archway. The gooberfish was attacking so aggressively that rocks crack off of the sides of the coral as the fish slams into it. The three of them then head for the surface. As they hit the surface, their flimsy makeshift crafts break apart and Qui-Gon Jinn gets an idea. He wants to use the spare parts to put together a life raft. In a hurry, the three of them start putting pieces together to make the life raft. On the last page of the comics, the three of them are sitting safely in their newly built life raft. Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi makes a joke about how the gooberfish probably died because of how hard he hit the archway. Qui-Gon Jinn begins to laugh as he pictures the gooberfish stuck in the archway. This next build is the life raft. This build was super straightforward and was the only one featured in the comics that has less instruction pictures. Let's put this life raft together and see how it comes out. As you can see, this build is super simple and has no functionality to it. I do think that it does its job by looking the part and being very structurally sound. I think that the three minifigures look good in it, however there is not a whole lot of space to place them in the raft very well. Overall, this is another one of the underwhelming alternative builds, but still another cool thing to see in this set. In the finale of the comics, we find our heroes in a serious predicament. The thoughts they had that the gooberfish was dead and stuck in the archway turned out to be a fantasy as the gooberfish launches out of the surface to eat them. The life raft blows apart as they are flying through the air. Qui-Gon has had enough of this fish and wants the fish to meet its end. He develops a great idea, which I thought was interesting, that they put a 2x2 red brick in the center of the idea light bulb. In one last attempt to save their skin, they start putting together Qui-Gon's brilliant idea. They land in the water and the gooberfish, thinking they are done for, dives back into the water. As their ferocious foe dives into the treacherous depths, it notices that a carnivorous rival is coming to eat it. Our heroes had built an attack fish to combat the gooberfish. The gooberfish quickly flees from his supposed foe and Jar Jar and Qui-Gon Jinn give each other a thumbs up in the wake of their victory. The alternative build for this fish came out amazingly and was one of the hardest builds I have had to navigate thus far. The instructions were helpful, but honestly more angles would have made this build go a lot smoother. At one point I was even trying to find instructions online for this one, but in the end I was able to pull it off. Let's put this one last alternative build together and see what features it has. This alternative build came out great. This is definitely my favorite build in this set. The functions and the look on this alternative build are amazing. The fish really does look terrifying and the mouth moving feature looks great and scary all at the same time. I do like how the eyes double up as cockpits and they are enclosed for the characters. I do like that there is storage space in the back of the body of the fish. I like how the fins are malleable. The overall look of this build is just amazing. The propellers in the back and the usage of the fins all look and feel great. Overall, this is definitely my favorite build. Not only could I see this as a playset, but I could also see the display value in it as well. I think that this alternative build really knocked it out of the park with creativity. I just love seeing the combination of shipbuilding with something as unique as a drivable fish. In the end, I would say that a lot of imagination went into 3 of these sets. The other 3 are not fillers because they do help with that creativity. Not every alternative build is going to be a large complex Goliath. Some are going to be required to be small and simple. Even though the fish ended up being my favorite, the mech was a close second. I'm very happy that I got to put all of these alternative builds together. The next alternative builds I'm going to be putting together is the 1999 LEGO Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace 7171 Mos Espa Pod Race. I am super excited for these alternative builds, however they all do look a lot smaller compared to this set in the 7151 Sith Infiltrator set, but I guess we'll have to see how they come out in the next video. I am sorry that I have not posted for so long. Now that I'm out of school and being able to focus on LEGO videos, I'm hoping to get back to posting at least weekly. Thank you guys for watching this alternative build review, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Please leave a like and subscribe for more LEGO alternative reviews, and have a wonderful day.